Good morning, everyone. I pray that you're having an awesome day. Happy Friday. It's Friday. Everybody gets excited when Friday comes. It's awesome. It's good. You get a rest from the hustle and bustle of the whole week. But listen, don't rest too much, because remember, you want to keep your body active. You want to keep it moving. You want to keep the momentum, so too much rest is not really good for you, believe it or not. Yeah, I said that. Trust me, I'm the first person who wants to rest, who wants to, hit the hay or just relax on the couch, watch that movie or that show, whatever it is, that sport program. But listen, you cannot keep your body dormant for too long. And then who goes through this? If you're one that goes through this, then you're going to love today's broadcast, But before we get started, let me introduce myself if you haven't seen me before. But I am your motivational speaker. I am your empowerment coach, your transformational developer. I am Miguel Ramos. Check out the website if you want more information, more content. Check out the About page. Listen, it's an awesome story, just a little bit about me so you can get to know me. But go to my website, miguelaramos.com. Check out the About page. You'll get to know a little bit more about me. You get to know me on a personal level. And you get to see that, listen, I'm not making this thing up. I'm not just a random guy just making videos talking about anything. But no, listen, I really have overcome. I have endured life. Life has thrown lemons at me. But listen, instead of just, crying and whining, I took those lemons and I made lemonade, lemon pie, lemon cake, lemon jam, and I sold it for a profit, right? So I refuse to stay down. I'm like that, that bug. You ever try to kill that bug and it just keeps coming back? Well, that's me and then some, right? So I want to share that power, share that information, share that experience and that burst of energy with you all. So going back to our topic today. Today our topic is very, very key. And this is something I've been wanting to talk to you all for a long time. And it's about the excuses. Excuses. Listen, have you been living a life full of excuses? Is your life full of excuses, or are you one that you're quick to throw an excuse when it comes to something? Listen, I know that you want to sit down, you want to rest, you want to lay back, and you want to make that excuse, but sometimes you just have to do what is called to be done. So if your life is full of excuses, if you're one that constantly makes excuses, I'm going to show you today not just how to overcome those excuses, but why you make those excuses, because we have to understand the why behind everything. If we don't understand behind the why, if we don't understand the why behind everything, then what happens is then we won't know really how to solve them. But listen to this. This is a quote by a famous guy. You probably may know him, Benjamin Franklin. But he says, "He that is good for excuses is seldom good for anything." He that is good for excuses is seldom good for anything. Watch out for people who make excuses. I'm not telling you don't befriend them, but just watch out for people who are constantly like, oh, I got to do this, or this happened, or that happened, or that happened. Believe it or not, that is a person that is not motivated, and you need to, or not that you need to, but that person needs to be motivated, to be thrusted to the next level. But we make excuses. Listen, in our life, we make excuses all the time. And sometimes when we make excuses, we don't know why we make excuses, but I'm going to give you the reality behind excuses. And the reason we make excuses is to rationalize the way we're feeling, what we're thinking. In other words, is to justify our level of comfortability. We are in a comfort zone. Let's say you're relaxing and, oh, can you do that? Oh, I'm really not feeling well right now. Oh, I can't come in. It's because, yes, you may be tired, but you're trying to justify and rationalize how you're feeling. And that's very dangerous, because when you stay in when you get in a state of dormancy or in a state of relaxation for too long, you're going to tend to make excuses. Your body and your mind is going to conjure up excuses as to why you should stay there. So be very careful, because you can stay there, for a long time. So I want to give you just a definition that I found online about what excuses really are. Excuses are rationalizations we make to ourselves about people, events, and circumstances. They are invented reasons. Catch this. They are invented reasons we create to defend our behavior, to neglect taking particular kind of action, or simply as a means of negating responsibility. So in other words, we invent this. They're not even real. We invent these reasons to negate responsibility, to not take responsibility about what we should do, right? Excuses are in essence a means of placing blame of an internal problem on an external condition. Wow. So let's say you're going to an internal problem. Let's say you're going to an emotional situation. Let's say something happened in the past, something was bedded, from the past or traumatic situation. And then now we make excuses not to, in an internal situation, not to really move forward. For example, let's say you've been hurt in a relationship before, and you've been heartbroken in that relationship. Then what happens is you're going to tend to make excuses not to commit to another relationship that may be coming, that can be even fruitful and favorable for you, all based on how you went through that first relationship, right? So you have the hurt, which is an internal problem, right? And then the external situation comes out, and then you make an excuse not to do that internal situation. But that itself, ladies and gentlemen, can also transfer into your success pattern in life. Well, I don't want to, start a business. I don't want to, venture out and do whatever it is that I'm called to do. I don't want to, extract that leader out of me. Why? Because there's a fear there. There's something there. And believe it or not, that is one of the main reasons why we make excuses, is fear. We have fear of failure. We have fear of embarrassment. We have fear of success. We have fear of uncertainties. Fear of responsibility, fear of making mistakes. Fear, the root is fear. You've been hurt before, so that hurt now has transferred into an experience, and that experience now has been embedded in your mind and in your psyche to not allow you to go forward. So every time there's an opportunity to succeed, anytime there is even an opportunity, yes, and granted, when we try to succeed, there are risks that we have to take. So in order to not take those risks, what we do is that we make excuses, I'm too old for that. I can't, I'm not up on that. When I'm too young, I can't do, I can't do that. I don't have the right, amount of money. I don't have the time. I don't know the people. All I got one friend on Facebook. That's all I got. So we make excuses to stay where we at, because where we at right now is more comfortable. But you have to understand that fear traps and locks us away within a comfort zone. Fear traps and locks us away within our comfort zone. You don't want to be trapped. Yes, I understand it's comfortable. You can stay there. It is good to be there. But listen, comfort is good to come and visit every once in a while, but don't stay there. There's a Bible verse that is very dear to me. As a matter of fact, I have it up in my wall, and I every time when I go by my kitchen door, I took it down. I actually placed it in my garage now. But, I tend to see it and I read it. And it's Psalm 23. And Psalm 23 is so awesome because it said, if you don't know it, listen, just look it up. Psalm 23. This is David, King David speaking. And he says, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, he said, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. But look what he says. He says, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Now, the shadow of death, yes, let's say if it's a cemetery, a dark alley, or even it could be a situation in your life, and you could be saying, man, it's very scary to walk through that. But that's exactly what you're gonna do. You gotta walk through it. Don't stay there. Don't set up camp there. Don't just linger there, because when you linger at a place for too long, you tend to make it your own. You tend to make it your habitat. So you don't want to stay in fear. You don't want to stay in failure. You don't want to stay in low self-esteem. You don't want to stay in unforgiveness. You don't want to stay in those areas. Yes, you can go through it. You may walk by every once in a while. We have a sense of fear, a sense of failure, a sense of unforgiveness, a sense of not wanting to do more, a sense of low self-esteem. But guess what? You walk through it and you get past it. And once you get past it, then you encourage yourself. You get yourself built up. You get yourself motivated, empowered, and you start to transform your life, right? So get yourself somebody that can do that, or read a word, read something. I found out this, ladies and gentlemen, is that the number one reason why we incur fear, why we have fear, is because of lack of knowledge, lack of understanding, lack of resources, lack of experience, and also, most importantly, lack of perspective. We can't see what others see for us. Have you had anybody, like me, you have anybody motivate you more than you motivate yourself? Have you had anybody see it for you more than you see it for yourself? Have you had anybody, be more happy for your success than you are for yourself? That's because you have to change your perspective. Don't determine your perspective based on where you're at. based on what you have around you, based on people, negative people that are telling you, things in your ear. Don't base your perspective of that, but you have to create your perspective. You have to see things that are not there, right? Or that are not there, right? Like faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, right? So guess what? My destiny, I don't physically see it, but I see it mentally. I see it spiritually. I see it in my soul, in my psyche. I see it in my plans, right? I see it, right? So you may not see it physically, but I see it visionary. Not visionary. What is it? In my vision, right? Yeah, there you go. Had a word for it there. But I see it in my vision, right? I see it, in my mind. I see it in my heart. And you have to create that perspective for yourself. And simply, if you have, I want to say, an encounter with fear, listen. Kick fear in the butt by doing exactly what fear doesn't want you to do. I've always said, if you're afraid of swimming, start at the shallow end by getting the water. If you're afraid of driving, listen, start in the empty parking lot by getting the car. Whatever fear is telling you not to, start small and then grow big. Start small and then grow big. But you got to kick fear in the butt. Fear is a bully. Fear is an intimidator. And watch this, fear is a liar. Oh yeah, fear is a liar. Fear will tell you things about you that is not true. As a matter of fact, fear is more afraid of you than you are of fear, because you're the only one that can annihilate fear. You're the only one that can put fear down flat on his butt. You can kick fear's butt from here to Timbuktu. I don't know what Timbuktu is at, but I'll Google it later. But but you can kick fear all the way through. Why? Because you have the power, you have the means, and you have the capacity to overcome that fear, right? So listen, overcome that fear no matter what it is. But you have to also be mindful, ladies and gents, that when you make excuses, believe it or not, if you tend to live in that excuse zone, I say, I've been there, trust me, I visited, one time, I stayed there a couple of months in that excuse zone, and, it became, excuse after excuse, and, I didn't want to answer the phone, I didn't want to call anybody, I didn't want to answer my email, answer no text, I was just in the zone, not a good zone, but in the zone, the excuse zone. And I had to come out of it. I had to come out for air. Had to open the blinds and get some fresh air and say, man, you know what? There's another world out there. Sometimes you can get lost in your own world. You ever just like they say, bench press, when you're watching TV, or you just completely just isolate yourself from the world, and you just watching TV, or you're watching your favorite show, you're catching up on all the season, and before you know it, at the end of the day, you open up the blinds and you look outside, you're like, man, there's another world out there. Why? Because you excluded yourself. Sometimes that's how excuses can be. You exclude yourself from a wonderful world, a world of possibilities, a world of of success, of triumph, of fruitfulness, and you can exclude yourself from that through excuses. So you have to be very, very careful, because excuses have horrific consequences. And I want to give you some of those consequences that excuses may bring. But when you make excuses and you keep justifying the way that you're feeling, or giving reason to something that is negative in your life, it can lead to lack of responsibility and growth. You need responsibility to grow. If you don't believe me, excuse me, if you don't believe me, if you have kids, listen, you give them small responsibilities at the beginning when the children are small, and that's how they grow. That's how they grow. Whether it is, clean your room, or do this, take the garbage out, and they make them feel more mature, makes them feel grown, So you grow through responsibility. The more responsibility you have, the more you grow. The Bible says, what is it the Bible says? To whom much is given, from them much is required. And that requirement allows you to grow, allows you to get the information, get the wisdom, get the know-how, get the knowledge. So responsibility allows you to grow. But if you make excuses, you're putting responsibility aside. You're saying, I don't want this responsibility, and therefore you're stunning your growth. It also is self-limiting. It is self-limiting. Your belief, your thoughts about yourself, when you make excuses, you become self-limited. You start to actually believe what fear starts to telling you, that you're not good enough, that you don't have all the money that you need, you don't have the education, you don't have the resources, and that always is a lie. You have the whole world at your fingertips. Like right now, listen, I'm broadcasting all over the world, right? With just, a couple of cell phones over here and devices, right? So you can do the same thing, right? Excuses also will let you have, or will lead you to have massive regrets. You know how many times I've made excuses not to go somewhere, not to involve myself in a special program, or with a business, or just even going out and having a good time with some friends and family, and then they come back with the pictures, they come back with an awesome situation, and I'm like, man, I wish I would have went. As a matter of fact, I want to thank a special friend of mine, Rob, thank you, because he blessed me the other day with some Yankee tickets, and they're in the middle of the week, and then, my kids had school, I had stuff to do. There were so many things that I had to do, but, hey, I canceled some appointments. I said, you know what, let me go. I got my kids from school early. I surprised them. I showed them Yankee tickets. I said, listen, we're going to go to the Yankee game, man. I was tired. I was beat. I just wanted to come home, relax, but I could have made 1,000 excuses not to go. And I took my children with me. I took along also my nephew, and we had an awesome time in Yankee Stadium, and we went, and we had an awesome experience over there, and they also had an awesome experience. For my little nephew, it was his first time over there. That is a memory that he will never forget in his whole life, and I made that happen. Why? Because I did not put excuses ahead. I did not put excuses. And sometimes you can be preventing somebody or even yourself from having the greatest experience in your life, right? So stop making excuses. Continue to move forward, because they will give you massive regrets. Also, listen, believe it or not, they give you bad judgment, paranoia. You ever made an excuse? Hey, come on, I want to talk to somebody. You ever made an excuse? Let's say, this is the key excuse, hello, boss. Hey, yeah, what's up? I can't come in. I'm sick, And then you call out sick. You told an untruth. I'm not going to call you liars, but you told an untruth. You called out sick. Then what happens is now you're paranoid because you don't want to go outside. What if you bump into some of your coworkers, or what if somebody see you online, or you can't do a Facebook post or whatever, because now you're the whole day until that time you clock off, you kind of like ducking all around, and you become paranoid, right? Come on. If you feel me, listen, comment on this. You become paranoid. And excuses make you paranoid. They make you even more fearful, right? So you get deeper in that fear. So again, these are some of the things that excuses bring. And I want to share with you one more thing. It also creates mental blocks. It creates mental blocks in your life when your mind, your body, your psychological, your spirit, when it is active. It tends to give you new ideas, new inspiration, aspirations, new ways of doing things. But when you constantly make excuses not to use those part of who you are, then you block yourself. You block yourself because you're not exercising, whether it's your mind, your spirit, your psychological, your intellect. And you become blocked in that when you actually want to get up and do something, you won't know where to start. You'll say, oh, man, I want to do something. I don't know how to do it. You won't know where to start. Why? Because you become blocked in that. So before we close, I want to give you just a couple more types of excuses, just some type of excuses that we go through, and then I want to encourage you to overcome those excuses before we close today, right? But listen, I want you to stay motivated, stay empowered, because I'm telling you, the reason I'm giving you this is because I was once there. I'm talking about, I lived there, my whole, I want to say this, when I was in high school, my whole senior year, I was so discouraged, and, my self-esteem was really bad, because all of my friends were doing great. They were all getting the credits. They were all passing all their classes and everything. And I was, I hate to put it like this, I was just being lazy, and I will always tell, one of my best friends, he will always tell me, come on, Megs, come on, we got to get to this, we got to do it, and I will always say, I'll start Monday, and Monday never came for me, and they all graduated, and I had to stay a year behind, and that's where I became, Mr. Super Senior. Yeah, I was a super senior, so, but it came down to the point where I got so discouraged that I didn't even finish school. One credit to go, I did not finish school. I dropped out only to, you know, of course, you know, when I got encouraged, I came back and I got my degree, you know, my diploma, you know, but I had to wait almost a couple of years and then come back, you know, so I wasted all that time. Why? Because I was making excuses. I just wanted to have fun. I just wanted to, you know, do all the things. I'm going to tell you what I did, but I just wanted to live that life. And, you know, it was time to transition, and I did not want to transition. And I would make excuse, you know, I couldn't come in, you know, I was doing this, lost great jobs, lost great opportunities. I say I could have been this a long time ago and then some. But excuses limited me to the growth, you know, that I could have had. So again, this is some type of excuses that we go through. Number one, there's not enough time. I already spoke to you guys about time. Make time. You control the time. Believe it or not, time is very valuable. Make the time. Just make it, whether it's you get up early or you go to sleep late. Make the time. There is enough time for you to do it there. So time is not an excuse. There's not enough money. Listen, you don't need money to start up. All you need is determination, willpower, and belief. Determination, willpower, and belief. If you have those three things, you don't need money. I can tell you millions of success stories from people that started from homelessness to now are multi-billionaire. You know, I'm one. I was homeless. I was literally in the street. So, you know, I got around. I don't know if you remember, I was in the city from New York City, but I got around with transfers. You know, do you remember transfer? You take from one bus to another and they allowed you to transfer. Those little pink and blue papers. That's how I got around. But I was never I was never stagnant. I moved around. So, you know, money is not an excuse, you know. I don't have an education. That's also not an excuse, you know. Books, I told you, I got books here, I got books back there, I got books back there, you know. If you can afford books, listen, go to your thrift store. Go to, you know, your donation spot. You know, every town has a place, you know, Habitat for Humanity or whatever, a place, you know, second time around store. Go in there, you know, there's tons and tons of books, you know, you can get it. I'm telling you, I've gotten great books for a quarter. You know, one time I was walking around in the rain and I found a book in the rain and it was wet and I brought it home and I dried it off. Man, that book was awesome. Awesome. Just the knowledge that I got from there. If you can afford, ask somebody to bless you with a book, bless you with something, you know, go somewhere. You know, you go stand in the Barnes & Noble, whatever, somebody will gift a book into you. Books are knowledgeable, right? If you can, then you have a smartphone, read online. There's no excuse, you know. I'm too old. I'm too young. Listen, I can tell you about, you know, for example, you know, Joyce Meyer. Joyce Meyer, if you don't know her, you know, she's an awesome preacher. You know, her ministry started way late. And, you know, she's doing awesome, great things, you know. You guys know Colonel Sanders from KFC, you know. He did like 56 traditional businesses, and it wasn't until the 57th one that he actually, you know, was able to succeed. He was about his 60s before he created KFC, you know. So if I'm not, the terminology is not right, but you know, Google those people like that. So you're never too young, you're never too old. You know, you have people now that are 23 and millionaires, you know, billionaires. So age is nothing but a number, right? Age is nothing but a number. I don't know. If you don't know, then get to know. Learn, right? Whatever it is, learn it. Listen, ask questions, you know. Go somewhere. Get a coach. Get a trainer, you know. Go online. Google something. It'll Google it back right to you, right? So not knowing, no excuse, right? I can't change. Yes, you can. Listen, if I can tell you the people that I hear that constantly tell me, well, that's just the way I am. No, that's the way you were created to be, but that's not the way you were meant to be. You can change. I am a product of change. You are a product of change. We all can change. Don't say you can't change. Change is growth. You change every day. Every day. Look at this. I don't know if you guys noticed. Look at this. But hey, I got grays in my beard. I didn't have that. That's change, right? So I was going to dye it. But, you know, my wife said, oh, it looks sexy. So I left it. So, you know, you change all the time, you know. So don't say you can't change. Those are just excuses, right? You know, we say this. Excuses. I'm afraid of fail. Tell yourself that failure is good. Failure incurs experience. Experience brings knowledge, and knowledge brings wisdom. So if you fail, it's okay. Just don't stay there. Get up and try again, right? So no excuse. Afraid of fail, it's not an excuse. It's not the right time. What are you talking about? It's perfectly the right time. Don't you know that the older you get, the harder it's going to become? So this is the perfect time. Not tomorrow, not the next week, not when you get the degree. Start right now. Right now is the perfect time. You don't want to miss the wave of success, right? So No excuses. 9, listen, I have to plan this thoroughly. Yes, of course, you plan, but you can also plan as you go. You know how many times I tweak my plans, my strategy? Why? Because it allowed me to see, allow me to change my perspective here and there. So, if you're the one person that needs to know it all before you engage into anything, there's no fun in that. There's no spontaneity in that. You have to take life as it comes. Don't worry about the situation that may happen on the way. You tackle it, as they come. That's life. I remember like when I first had my first child, I did not know what to expect. I didn't know, I was a child myself, but I embraced it as I came along. And after that, listen, I love my children, right? So no excuses, right? Excuse number 10, it won't work. You won't know unless you try it. How can you say it won't work? You won't know unless you try it. Try it first, then tell me if it's going to work again. And if that doesn't work, then maybe try something else. But keep trying until it does work. So it won't work, no excuse. That's no excuse at all. And if you say I'm not inspired, then listen to your boy right here and get inspired, right? I can tell you so many different stories, where I felt not inspired, but if I would have stayed there, I would not have been here. So listen, get inspired. Listen to somebody. Listen to a motivational speaker. Listen to a preacher. Listen to that person that is telling you, that empowerment coach, whoever it is. Read a story. Read somebody's story, and I guarantee you, you will get inspired. If you don't get inspired by other people motivating you, then look at what you have. Surround yourself with your family, your friends, your loved ones, your children, and do it for them. If you can't do it for them, then do it for the most important person in your life. Do it for you. You have to do it for you. You don't want to live a life of shoulda, coulda, woulda. You don't want to live a life of regret. You don't want to live a life of laziness, of lethargicism. You don't want to live a life of saying, man, I could have been that. I could have been there. You don't want to live that life. So guess what? Put excuses behind you. Take them out your pocket. Empty your pockets right now of excuses. Put them to the side and say, no more excuses. Today, not tomorrow, not next week, not next month. Today, I'm going to change my life. Why? Because I owe it to myself, and I am that valuable to do it. You are important, you matter, and you are valuable. Your destiny is waiting for you. It's waiting for you. So my friends, listen, stop making excuses. Put excuses on the back burner. As a matter of fact, don't even put it on the back burner. Stop cooking them. Just throw them out. Throw them in the garbage. No more excuses. Don't conjure up. No more excuses. But listen, tackle life as it comes. Educate yourself, motivate yourself, empower yourself, read. Whatever it is, surround yourself around folks that want to do the same thing you want to do. Surround yourself around people that look and resemble as to where you want to be. Stop making excuses. Stop putting yourself down. Stop saying you don't have the knowledge. Stop saying you don't have the wisdom. Stop saying you don't have the resources. You have that and then some, my friends. But if you never step forward and set your first foot towards the destiny and the journey of success, you will never leave where you're at. And I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you this last quote before we leave, right? Your first step may not get you to where you want to be, but it will surely get you out from where you were, right? So come on, move on, stay connected with me, and I'm going to give you more empowerment material as we go along. And listen, check out your boy's website, right? MiguelARamos.com, right? For more empowerment content. And if you want to work with your boy, then look me up right there, book an appointment. And listen, I think today, I'm still gifting a complimentary leadership evaluation. You want to know there's a leadership inside of you. There's a leader, inside of you. I have this leadership evaluation. Call me, contact me, go on my website, set up an appointment, and listen, I'll get to you and I can help you extract that leader from within you. So, again, thank you for this moment, this time. Next week, I have an awesome treat. I'm going to try to clash the best of both worlds. A lot of you know me, from the church scene, but, I do a lot of business. I help a lot of people in business as well. So I'm going to try to mesh the two worlds together. And I'm thinking of giving you some entrepreneurship tips from the Bible, right? So I'm going to show you business in the Bible. So, pastors, business leaders, you say, well, I stick to this, I stick to that. I'm going to clash both worlds, and I'm going to let you know that why Jesus was one of the best business owners, well, not business owner, but business, I want to say strategic partners that ever was, right? So, I'm going to give you some of those pointers. So stay tuned next week, and until we meet again, listen, remember, no more excuses. Peace.